Militarily Speaking, Episode 9, a talk with Colonel Jerry Quinn, USAR Chief Operating Officer and Secretary of AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. That's a mouthful. AAFMAA. Yes. Let's go with AAFMAA.
We're going to use AAFMAA going forward. This episode, we talk with Colonel Jerry Quinn and discuss how AAFMAA helps our military families.
Welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean, joined by my wonderful co-host, Jodi Vickery.
You choked on the word wonderful.
I know. Well, the other one said no to me. So this is where, Michelle puts this thing in there that says a segue or opening segment or news and updates. I'm going to give you some stats on insurance. You ready?
Perfect.
Ready for this, Jerry?
Okay, I'm ready to copy.
So 52% of American adults have life insurance. 31% are more likely to buy life insurance because of the ongoing pandemic. 40% wish they purchased their policies at a younger age. And we talk about that at the bank, about 401k and people not enrolling at a young age. And there's also a big number that I read this morning, too, is $3.29 trillion. Face amount of life insurance policies are purchased in the United States. That's with a T, trillion. So those are interesting stats for me, too. And I know Jerry's going to talk a little bit about AAFMAA and what his company does for our military service members or families, veterans. So I'm excited to have that. But I am going to do one quick joke. Is that okay?
We warned you, Jerry. We warned you.
Yeah.
Get ready for the guffaw and then a courtesy laugh after that, too. But So a financial advisor, because you do financial advice, right?
Yeah, one of our subsidiaries does.
A financial advisor asked me, "What is your net worth?" And I said, "I don't own a net."
There it is.
I don't think it counts if you have to be the only one laughing at your own joke.
But isn't that the case with every joke that I do?
Yes, actually, it is. All right. Are you done?
I'm finished for now.
Okay, goodness. Sorry, Jerry. We warned you ahead of time.
Yeah,
we did.
No, these are good. These are good. I hope he's got a whole list of them.
I do, but you can use that one too and call it your own.
Okay, well, I'll use it sparingly. How's that?
See, now I really like him. All right. Again, welcome to our show. We're excited to have you listening and learning about AAFMAA and to share our military minute answer, Tom, from the last episode. I am going to take just a quick second, though, and introduce our guest for today, a little bit about him, and then we will dive in because I know we've got a lot of questions for you, Jerry. Today, we have with us Colonel Jerry Quinn, USAR. He serves as the Chief Operating Officer and Secretary at AAFMAA, overseeing all operations of life insurance, including new business, policy services, member benefits, and survivor assistance services. Jerry brings almost 30 years of experience in the financial services industry, where he specialized in strategic programs and business development and has over 36 years in the U.S. Army. Thank you for your service, including continued service in the U.S. Army Reserve. He has served in various command and staff assignments, including deployments in support of OIF, Desert Storm, and Panama, and Homeland Defense missions in the United States. He currently serves as the Assistant Chief of Staff Comptroller for the 80th Training Command. That's the Army school system there in Richmond, Virginia. And he holds a BS in Finance from Colorado State University and an MBA with an emphasis in organizational design from the University of Colorado. Yes. And some fun things that we'll share about you. You enjoy running and hiking and biking and more. Those almost all rhyme. We need to figure out another word for running that rhymes with hiking and biking. He is in the 9th year as a rescue scuba diver. That's pretty cool. And is passionate about experiencing and learning about our oceans up close and personal. I, on the other hand, think I need to only be where I am the top of the food chain. Therefore, I do not go into the ocean. So welcome.
Sitting on the sides of oceans is also nice, but I will tell you there's something exceptional about being in the ocean and learning about that entire ecology. It's amazing.
I will take your word for it.
Yes, we will. We will live through him.
I've watched Jaws a few too many times.
Yeah, I'll report back with pictures. But anyway, thank you for that warm introduction. And gosh, reading all of that stuff, I really do sound pretty old.
So I would say impressive, not old. Yes, important, Tom said, yeah. But we're just happy that you could join us today, spend a little time. And I think really just to kick us off, could you just tell us a little bit about how you got started with AAFMAA?
Yeah, it was serendipitous of sorts, I suppose. It was an honor to be recruited over to AAFMAA. I spent a lifetime in financial services, primarily banking prior to this, and I was directing military affairs for a large Fortune 500 and had gained some exposure to this military-centric financial institution through my many interactions. So for instance, my knowledge of Armed Forces Bank also kind of was part of the ecosystem that I was part of. And I learned of AAFMAA. They were going through some leadership changes. They were looking to fill this position. And I was fortunate enough to be selected to be the chief operating officer in February of 2020, where, again, serendipitous. This is a pinnacle of two careers that I've really worked on, 30 years in the military and 30 years in financial services. It's my life's work. It's what I love to do. And so they say when you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
I've heard that before.
It does feel a little bit more like work, obviously, being in the throes of ensuring that you underwrite life insurance and so on. But the pursuit of helping military and veteran families find financial independence is what drives me and keeps me going and motivates me every day.
Thank you for that. Jerry, you mentioned earlier that we've had a relationship with the bank. You know Don Giles and John Boykley really well, and they speak very highly of you, especially since you transitioned over to AAFMAA. They've gotten to know you over the years too. So thank you for doing what you're doing for our military. Our companies have a lot of similarities. I think AAFMAA was started in 1879. Army National Bank, our original name, was in 1907. We have a common mission, if you will, is to serve our military and serve our families and the veterans. We offer products and services that meet the lifestyle and needs of our military audience. And we're at the point now, Jerry, if you want to talk a little bit more about the complement and array of services offered through AAFMAA, but in particular, maybe even some of the life insurance plans with which you're familiar, and have some other solutions that you want to share with our audience.
Yeah, gosh, Tom, thanks. That's a great opening. How long do we have? Just joking. I won't do that to you.
All the time you need.
This is life insurance we're talking about after all, so you need to take it in bite-sized pieces. I think that I will start with an overarching comment that all of our life insurance policies are designed to also suit the needs of the military spouse. We have found that, some of those statistics that you read earlier, embedded in those statistics, Tom, we find that military spouses are largely underinsured. Mm-hmm. Americans in general are underinsured from what they need or what they would like to be able to leave in the event something happens to them, protecting their family income or leaving a legacy, whatever the reasons might be. But we are proud that every one of our life insurance policies can also be delivered to a military spouse. And the reason we knew that we needed to do that is to make sure that, our military spouses don't have the same options that service members have or even veterans have through the insurance plans that the military or VA provide. So that's one of the important things. And then drilling down into our life insurance policies, the thing I like most about AAFMAA life insurance policies is they're the simplest to understand, and they're delivered in our not-for-profit method, so we don't have to add profit for a shareholder. The owner of AAFMAA is the member, and so we just we can price these products so that we can return as many benefits back to the military family and veteran family. That said, I have this really cool whole life policy, and for those that don't know, there's two types of policies: a term policy, which is for a period of time, you pay for it over a distinctive period of time, and when it's done, it expires. But a whole life policy, as long as you pay the premiums for the term required, it will last for your entire life. And our value-added whole life policy comes with a crediting rate of 4.5%, and I challenge the audience to go out and look for any whole life policy with a 4.5% crediting rate today. It is a market-leading rate. It is designed for the exclusive benefit of our distinct membership. We can't just sell life insurance to anyone here. Right. We have to sell life insurance to military members, veterans, and their families. So the value-added whole life is very valuable, and it includes a long-term care settlement option. Not something you want to think about when you buy your whole life policy, but later on in life, a long-term care settlement option is a very nice feature to have already built into the policy. I also wanted to add in there that we do have a veteran, what we call a veteran survivor plan, which is a guaranteed issue. Any veteran is eligible for it, and any family member, spouse specifically, is eligible for it too, with no underwriting. And it is a way for all military families, veterans, regardless of their health, to be able to leave at least a little something for their family if they got started late in life insurance or hadn't planned earlier to establish their estate. But maybe what makes us most unique is that all of our policies do not have any of the military exclusions. I guess that's a really poorly worded sentence, but our policies are all designed to ensure the military and veterans. That is to say, we have no war clause, we have no aviation clause. Those are clauses often found in civilian policies to limit the exposure or risk to the life insurance company. At AAFMAA, our membership, our board of directors, senior management has determined that for the past 143 years, we're going to provide the life insurance that actually meets the needs of the military family. So those are unique benefits that come along with the AAFMAA policies. They're less expensive, they're specially designed for military families, and they don't have any of the restrictive clauses that you might find in civilian policies.
That's fantastic. As a military family member myself, I appreciate all of that. I was actually going to ask you a little bit about that veteran survivor plan. You already touched on it, but whether it's that plan or any other that you spoke of at a high level, it looks like I can get a lot of information on your website, which is www.aafmaa.com. And it looks easy enough to apply. Is that the best way for folks who are interested to learn more about the details of those policies and to apply for them?
That's a good question, Jodi. And I'm wondering what people think about when they go out to apply for life insurance. But absolutely, for AAFMAA and for applying for that policy specifically, it is super easy to apply online because it's the easiest application we have. It's a guaranteed issue. No medical questions need to be answered. You can choose amounts up to $25,000. It is designed specifically for 45-year-old to 84-year-olds, and you have to be eligible for membership with AAFMAA. So that is, military members, veterans, their spouses, or their children. We find that this policy is most popular with veterans and retirees and their spouses. Those are the people that are seeking these kind of policies. They realize they may be a little underinsured. They might have medical conditions that prevent them from getting more traditional life insurance. And this is a good solution at a reasonable price that allows them to, at least, like I say, ensure they've locked away some sort of protection for their family in the event that they pass.
That's fantastic.
This may be just more generic stats, Jerry, but you look at the population in the country about why they even get life insurance too, and it may be different for the military than it is for civilian. But on the civilian side, 84% get life insurance because they want to cover burial and funeral expenses, and then 66% are wealth transfer, 62% want income replacement, 57% want supplemental retirement income, and then 50% of the people that purchase life insurance want to make sure their mortgage is paid. And I think it's probably different from a military perspective too, and from an education standpoint about where in that journey do they have the access and the resource and the right people around them to understand why they need it, how much, when they should get it, and all those questions. And I think having AAFMAA as our guest today, having Jerry represent the company and talk to our listeners about what's available on the military side is critical and important information to share. So thank you for going into detail about the insurance side of the house too. And we'll talk probably a little bit about wealth management or investments soon. But anything else to add about the life insurance side, Jerry?
Yeah, well, I think that for the military family, your financial independence starts as soon as you get started. And it's never too early and it's never too late. And I just want people to really appreciate that if you're 65 and in poor health, there are solutions, and you just need to talk to some professionals that can help guide you to where those solutions are best found at the best prices. And AAFMAA has a team that can do that. You can call AAFMAA directly as well. We talked about online applications, but you can call and talk to our member benefits team or our membership coordinators. And they'll give you some good advice about different types of policies and when you use one over another. But ultimately, trying to enable the military community to really drive their own financial independence and ensure that they have the right tools in place. I think it's what Armed Forces Bank and AAFMAA exist for, is that target. If we can do more of that together, then I think that we're doing a great service to the military families and veterans.
Thank you. I'll take you back to May of 2019, right, Jerry, when you were working for that unnamed Fortune 500 financial services company, when you did an article that showed up on LinkedIn about your Military Appreciation Month. And that's something that we take great pride in that as well at Armed Forces Bank, and doing random acts of kindness or recognizing Military Spouse Appreciation Day and all the things that go with the military to support them and appreciate them publicly. And I'm glad we're at a point in this country that we dedicate the entire month to appreciate our military. And thank you for even expressing your own support for that too, as you talked about it in your article. And we're going to transition now to Jodi's next question.
Yeah, I was curious. Of course, I am a military spouse, so I come at this with a certain perspective. You've said that they're eligible for your products and services. How does AAFMAA reach out to that community? What avenues do you use to connect with spouses directly and give them information about how to access the resources that you bring to the table?
Sure. A couple of ways. So you've already mentioned AAFMAA.com, and plenty of A's, right? AAFMAA.com. And you can get information there, but it's pretty product specific. It's insurance heavy. I would encourage your audience and others to leverage our brand called SpouseLink, spouselink.org. It's basically an online lifestyle magazine that we offer to military spouses, hence the name SpouseLink, but it's also useful for people transitioning from the military. It has career advice and tips. It has some good information about PCSing or TDY trips, about getting started in savings, and some tips and tricks on how you can hack your own savings life so that you can save more money for the things that are important to you. But spouselink.org is a great place to engage, and you can find out not only stuff about AAFMAA and life insurance, but you'll also find out other things important to military families, benefits, and making sure that you get your VA appointments when you need them, and all those things that are important to military families and retiring or transitioning veteran families.
Got it. No, that is a good resource. I'm glad that you brought that up. And I'm sure, as you know, and I know from firsthand experience, when you can tap into that spouse network, we tend to talk amongst ourselves and share information.
Yeah, it's such an important component of the military service today. I don't know how military spouses did it in the early years before there was this comprehensive digital connectivity, and it was often, it was your next door neighbor that you were communicating with. Mm-hmm. But now your next door neighbor is somebody that you know for life, and you continue to network with them on your social platforms and channels regularly. SpouseLink is that community, and is really intended to be that community so that you can get good insights from people that, quote unquote, have been there, and they're telling you what military housing is like, or, things you can do to maximize your benefits and things like that.
Very good.
Shifting a little bit of a focus, I'm going to go off script a little bit, but that's not really normal for me. But, the blended retirement system probably rolled out maybe a few years ago, Jerry, maybe 2018, 19 timeframe. Is that about right?
Yeah, that is.
And it's sort of the old legacy system that existed on the military side, combined with more of a traditional civilian 401k plan. But just wanted to get your take, and it could be commentary as an employee of AAFMAA, or it could be Jerry Quinn's commentary about it too, about how that program rolled out, or how successful it is, or how many conversations you have with people about setting aside money for retirement on the education front, but also on the planning side of the house. Share that with our audience if you don't mind.
Yeah, the blended retirement system might have had, it might have not been launched as well as it could have been, but I will say that the blended retirement system is a good retirement system, and it's a good retirement system because it is the one that's available to people entering the military now, and
Right.
you should adopt it. And if there is one top line message I can send anyone in the blended retirement system, for those that opted in, or for those that are entering service today, that is your retirement system. Participate in it, max out your savings, start now. It will do more for you than just be a savings account. It will influence the discipline that you have in creating habits of savings. It will allow you to participate in the markets in a relatively safe manner and gain exposure to the markets as you're entering into a life of investing, because that's what it takes to save and prepare for a life of retirement. And so if you get started now, the blended retirement system is as good as any out there, and I encourage anyone eligible for it to take full advantage of it.
I think we struggle on our side too, Jerry. We talked about, we hire a lot of military dependents. We have a lot of people that join our company that just don't understand, whether you're 18, 19, or 20, 21, about what it looks like 40 years from now or even 20 years from now for your military service, how much it can accumulate. You can accumulate wealth over time by just setting aside a percentage or a dollar amount, or, to your point, maxing it out. And I wish there were a way to have a crystal ball come to life and show our young enlisted or show our AFB associates what it looks like down the road and how we can get that word out there as best as we can.
You know, the blended retirement system website itself, they even have some charts on there that show the time value of money, the value of starting to invest when you're 25 versus investing in the exact same thing when you're 35, and how much it costs to quote unquote catch up. And I'll tell you, you know, as a young private in the active duty Army, I didn't do a good job savings, and I made all the mistakes that we see service members making still today. You know, they rack up debt when they probably didn't need to, or they bought a car that was outside of their reach, and just because they felt like they had the disposable income. And what I would say, if I had it to do over again, and what I have learned, is that it's good to live within your means, and when you do that, you have the disposable income to take advantage of the good tools out there, like, you know, blended retirement system or other investing and savings plans that are available, and just the action of getting started and being involved in it. Yeah.
Well, if you find that crystal ball, I have a 17-year-old that lives in my basement. It'd be great.
Hey, Jodi, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a little story. I'll go off script. I don't know if this, I know.
No, you're allowed to, Jerry.
Just don't tell a Tom joke and it's good.
Yeah. No Tom joke, but I will tell you that, so my son went off to the Marines. He probably is tired of me telling this out in the public, but he went off to the Marines, and it was during the blended retirement system enrollment period. And so he had to technically opt in. And so I told him, you need to opt in. He says, nope, my sergeant says I'm good to go. I don't need to opt in. I said, no, you know, I happen to know this really, really well.
I may do this for a living.
My 18-year-old son knew that he was smarter than me. You know how we, when we're 18.
They always are.
I was smarter than my dad when I was 18. So finally I had to force him to make an appointment with his personnel office and go down and get enrolled in blended retirement system. Then we found out through hard questions, I found out that they didn't enroll him for any contributions. So he had to make another trip down to the personnel office to enroll for the contributions. That's what it took to get my son, the son of a 30-year military member, a 30-year financial professional, in order to get him on the path to savings. But I will tell you, the pain that he and I went through to get to that point, Jodi, has paid off in huge dividends. In his 4 years in the Marines, he became an excited member around savings and investing. And now today he's a 20-something. He has his own investing plan. We talk about investments on a regular basis. He has kept up the discipline of saving every month, even though he's on the GI Bill going to school. He doesn't have a lot of money. He finds a way to save a little bit of money each and every month, a habit that he learned through the blended retirement system. So all I have to say, Jodi, is it's an uphill battle, but continue. Eventually you will win. do what moms do.
Yeah, until you got to the end of that story, I was worried that you were about to tell me there was no hope. So thank you for bringing the conclusion in.
I had to bring it home that all of our kids need to learn from our experience, and we need to emphasize that.
Well, he's going to be a big cheerleader now for the savings plan. So you did your job.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
I'm gonna say one more quote, and then we'll get to the finish line here. So I read an insurance quote, Jerry. You're like this. You don't buy life insurance because you're going to die, but because those you love are going to live.
That's a great quote.
Isn't that a great quote?
That is a great quote.
I'm going to say Tom McLean said it.
Put it on a T-shirt.
If you
Tom
fact
McLean.
check that, it won't be me.
Bumper stickers. I can see it now.
Bumper stickers. Oh my gosh. Well, then that's a really good quote. That's such an important notion about life insurance, and your earlier statistics. 40% wish they had purchased earlier. That's think about that, right? And when you buy life insurance at a younger age, you're the healthiest you're going to, you're healthier today than you're going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Consider your life insurance, consider your protection now. The fact that the statistic you read, quite phenomenal, more than $3 trillion in life insurance is out there right now. I think it speaks to it is an essential product in any family's financial plan to gain financial independence is to have adequate life insurance. Therefore, the reason AAFMAA exists is to help the military families and veteran families add that component to their financial plan.
Jerry, thank you. We're Jodi and I are both so happy you joined us today. Our audience is going to be thrilled that they learned a lot from you today. And again, thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us on episode number 9. And I think we're up to
millions of
billions.
Yes.
Billions.
The subscriber number was I think it was trillions.
We have a fan club.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, instead of dad jokes, there's Tom jokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a thing,
It's terrible. He's going to come out with a calendar.
Hashtag Tom jokes. Go with it.
Come back and tell us the hashtag again so I can write it down.
Hashtag Tom jokes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm in.
You heard it here first.
Hey, I love visiting with you guys. I love what Armed Forces Bank does for our military and veterans. I love how you guys take care of AAFMAA and our banking. So this relationship is one that we are really grateful for, and we thank you for all you do.
You're welcome. Thank you. Right back at you.
Well, thank you again. And just one more time for our listeners, it's www.AAFMAA, which is AAFMAA.com, lots of A's, or we learned about spouselink.org. So check both of those out if you want more detail about anything that we talked about today.
And the blended retirement system has some factoids out there as well.
Yep, so. Absolutely. And Jerry, if you can hang with us for 1 second and humor us, we have a little thing we do at the end of our podcast called the Military Minute.
What is it?
The Military Minute.
Okay.
Yes, and so last week, the question was, what was Lady Gaga's real name?
Wait.
Do you know, Tom?
Jerry, do you know?
Doggone it. I read this.
Google.
I read this.
No, you didn't.
I read it like a week ago. But I cannot remember. It's a very unusual.
Do you know how many names she has?
2. She has 2 other names other than Lady Gaga, I believe. Did I get that right?
She has 4.
4? Whoa.
That's when you know you've really arrived on scene. It's like you either have one name, like I'm Beyonce and I got one name, or you get 4 names.
Wow, I did not know that.
If you got 2, you're in trouble. But anyway, for our listeners, the answer is Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanata. I'm not even sure I said that correctly, but
I think you did right.
Sounds very official and legit. Yeah. But moving forward, hopefully somebody answered that right on our social media, and watch for us to announce the winner there. And as we look forward to this week's Military Minute, of course, it's going to deal with AAFMAA. Jerry, in honor of you and your organization. So our question is, who is the Beyond Basic Life Insurance Plan best for? Don't answer, Jerry. For our audience, we're looking for the age range that this is best suited for. So you're going to have to do a little digging.
Yeah,
you're going to have to go visit that website that we told you about, www.afma.com, and watch for our Facebook and Instagram post. And make sure to comment your answer. And if you are selected as the winner, we've got a chance for you to earn $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice. And with that, I just want to say thanks again to Colonel Jerry Quinn for spending time with us. It's been a pleasure. And be sure to visit their website and learn more about AAFMAA.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, go out to afbank.com and subscribe to the show. Also, make sure to rate us. Leave us a comment on your favorite podcast platform, such as Apple Podcast or Spotify. That's a wrap, Jodi. I think what a great job Jerry did.
Yes.
Hey, thanks
I think we should add a rating for your jokes out there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh, hashtag best jokes ever. Yeah.
Tom, you've got a place on Dry Bar Comedy if you want to get some, if you want to expand your podcasting capabilities, let's go for it.
And then people can subscribe and pay me like $5 for an episode or something.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. You could get sponsors,
the wheels turning,
sponsors and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go for it, man.
So AAFMAA, I'll put AAFMAA down. Okay, good.
That's right. Hey,
it
thanks
was a
lot.
pleasure,
It's
Jerry.
nice to
Thank
see
you so
all.
much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Copyright 2022 Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.
Products and services, including life insurance, offered by AAFMAA are not FDIC or SPIC insured, carry no bank guarantee, and may lose value over time.